Mini-series Therapy of the Five Elements. The FARO School of Higher Studies in Integrative Health, with its FARO Integral Method, welcomes you to Episode 28 Integrative Therapeutic Practice. How is FARO Jung-Wilber-Hamer integrated with TCM and Taoism? 1. The problem of integration in integrative medicine. Many approaches claim to integrate. Few explain how. Because it is an intellectual, philosophical, and clinical task at the same time, characteristic of the so-called sciences of complexity, such as Edgar Morin's complex thought. In integrative medicine, there is often an overlap of discourses, psychology on one hand, Chinese medicine on the other, and spirituality as a final addition. The FARO Integral Method does not simply add disciplines. It organizes them at functional levels of the human being, and it complements current medicine, giving it a creative and renewed impetus. 2. FARO's organizing principle. FARO starts from a clear clinical premise. Every symptom simultaneously has a dimension: biological energetic, psycho-emotional, relational existential, consciousness. Therefore, FARO does not mix theories. It places them where they actually operate. 3. Clinical integration map traditional Chinese medicine plus Tao. Where do they act? At the level of body energy primary emotions. Organs, meridians, qi, blood, jing. 5 elements as functional dynamics. Tao as the principle of natural balance. TCM describes how imbalance manifests. 4. Dr. Reich-Geerd-Hamer with his German New Medicine. Where does it act? At the level of the biological impact of the conflict. Unexpected shock. Biological meaning of the symptom. Active phase and repair phase. Hamer explains why the body responds this way to a conflict. FARO does not diagnose or promise cures. It uses this framework as a reading of body-psyche coherence. Carl Jung, depth psychology. Where does he act? At the symbolic psychic level. Archetypes. Personal and collective unconscious. Psychic compensations. Jung gives meaning to the emotional and symbolic content of the symptom. Ken Wilber, integral model. Where does he act? At the level of consciousness and development. Stages of consciousness. Lines of development. Perspectives, I-we system. Wilber situates the subject within their actual capacity for understanding and change. What does FARO do with all this? FARO does not interpret for the patient. FARO does not force insight. FARO does not promise healing. FARO accompanies processes respecting the body, TCM. The biology of stress, Hamer. The symbolic psyche, Jung. The available level of consciousness, Wilber. 5. Real, verifiable, therapeutic practice. In the FARO-Tao clinical practice, the practitioner observes recurring patterns. They correlate emotion, body, and history. They adjust the intervention to the patient's level of awareness. They evaluate actual changes, breathing, tension, emotional regulation, and the patient's narrative. Confirmation is empirical, not dogmatic. 6. Key difference from other approaches. It is not motivational coaching. It is not classical psychotherapy. It is not isolated traditional Chinese medicine, TCM. It is not escapist spirituality. It is comprehensive, ethical, and gradual clinical support. 7. Who is this method for? The FARO Integral Method is for professionals who work with real people, are not looking for magic formulas, want a deep understanding without sacrificing rigor, and wish to intervene without causing harm. FARO Summary. The FARO Method does not teach how to cure. It teaches how to support with awareness, structure, and respect for human complexity. This method is scientifically and philosophically sound. It is feasible in a clinical setting. It is verifiable in practice. The most experienced professionals in medicine, psychology, and integrative nursing will appreciate this method. Those interested in their health and in supporting processes will find a novel, humane, ethics, and clearly explained methodology. Subscribe to the channel, follow the mini-series on YouTube, share this video to raise awareness, and leave a like. Training in the FARO Integral Method will be available very soon.